What's going on? Hi, people. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. Welcome back to this channel. My name is Tena Merkaba, and today we're going to be talking about what sextiles, conjunctions, squares, and oppositions and inconjunctions are in astrology. So, in my last astrology video, I spoke about the houses, right? And then I was speaking about like the second house and the sixth house and the 10th house and how they're all earth houses and stuff like that, and how they like work together, but whatever. So guys, in astrology and basically in life, we have things called trines, which are gifts. We have sextiles, which are opportunities, and then we have conjunctions, which are your powers, and then we have squares, which are your learning processes, and then we have inconjunctions, which are the misunderstandings. And I think I said all of them: trine, sextiles, conjunction, trine, sextile, square, misconjunction. I mean inconjunction. Okay, yeah. So basically, let's start with conjunctions, right? So conjunctions in your birth chart are basically if you have one specific zodiac sign in like different planets, right? So for example, let's say check your birth chart, by the way. I'll use myself as an example. So a conjunction would be if I'm a Virgo sun, so my sun sign is Virgo, and then my Mars is also in Virgo, right? So there's two Virgo, like Virgo is placed in two planets, so that's a conjunction, right? But really conjunctions also just depend on the degrees. So every 10 degrees, so for example, if my Virgo sun is 27 degrees Virgo, but my Mars is 2 degrees Virgo, so there's like a huge ass gap like between my sun sign and my Mars. So my Mars would then play out as a Mars in Leo, right? Because it's two, like when we, because 2 degrees is still a cusp, right? From 28 degrees to, I'd even say 3 degrees, that's the cusping era, right? So if you, and I thought I was like a Virgo cusping Libra, but I don't think I am, because like I said, Virgos, I mean the cusping signs start 28 degrees, and I'm 27 degrees. I'm like 27 15, but whatever, it's not technically a cusp, but technically it kind of is, but not really. So anyway, like I was saying, it's like my sun sign and my Mars sign can't be a conjunction, because my Mars sign is like in a super early degree, and my Virgo sun sign is in a super late degree, right? So there's like a huge gap. So it plays out like my Mars is in Leo. But if my Mars was in, for example, 15 degrees, or let's even say 20 degrees, then it would have been a conjunction, because now like they're on the same kind of the distance isn't that long, right? So it's like if this is my sun, then my Mars is like all the way like over there. So they're not technically like my Mars is still kind of like in the Leo energy, but it's still kind of sharing the Leo energy, and then my Virgo sun is like trying to get to the Libra energy, and that almost would have played as a sextile, but it's not. But yeah, anyway, like I was saying, if my Mars was in 20 degrees Virgo, and since my sun sign is 27 degrees Virgo, then that would have been a conjunction, right? But you can do it with yourself too. But before not knowing what, like, how the degrees are influencing your chart, like I would have just been like, oh yeah, my Mars conjuncts my sun. But you can also, I also have my Mercury conjuncting my Venus, because my Mercury is in Libra and my Venus is in Libra too, right? And my Mercury is in 19 degrees Libra and my Venus is in 24 degree Libra. So that's a beautiful conjunction. So what conjunctions mean is the two planets are basically doing the same thing, right? With the same energy. So when I'm communicating, I'm communicating about love matters, right? Because Venus is about love, but I'll make a video about Venus and all the planets, right? I think I was supposed to do that before this video, but you know, whatever. So Venus is about love, appreciation, compromising, being diplomatic, and, you know, sharing information rather than, whereas Mars is just like about self-preservation, right? Venus is about like sharing everything and like, you know, being fair. So my Mercury is thinking, communicating, analyzing, gathering information, gathering data, how you communicate, how you think, how you like interact with people, right? So when they're in the conjunction, when they're in the same sign, then those two planets are doing the same thing. So when I'm loving, I'm also speaking. When I'm speaking about things. I'm speaking about like Libra things, Venus things, right? So that's the conjunction. You get what I'm saying? So wherever you have your conjunction, that's how it's going to play out. So if you have Sun conjuncting Mars, you are communicating about your vitality. Like the way you express yourself through talking. So you may talk a lot, like if you have Sun, and a lot of people have this placement, but if you have Sun conjunct Mars, then you must, like, you're someone that talks a lot. But when there's conjunction, it causes friction, because especially if there's more than two planets that are conjuncting each other, like my brother, for example, my brother has a Libra stellium. He has a sun, moon, Mercury, Mars and Jupiter all in Libra, right? So on one end, it's a cool thing because like he has a stellium, so you know he's a very loving person, but it also causes friction within these planets, because sometimes you may, like, if you have like I said, if you have Sun conjuncting Mercury, you may overly communicate or overthink all the time, right? Because like as you're expressing yourself, because your sun sign is how you express yourself, you're also communicating, so you may be overly thinking about your expression. Or like my brother, I use my brother as an example, he may overly he may like extremely be thinking about his emotions, thinking about his expression, overly being aggressive, because it's also in Mars, and like overly putting high meaning and reasoning through the intellect with his Jupiter, right? So that's how it plays out. So conjunctions are your powers, because wherever you have your conjunctions is where you can, like, where you succeed the most, right? So but some conjunctions aren't nice, because if you have, that's a whole other video. But as I was saying, like if you have Moon conjunct Mars, your moon is how you feel and like, you know, how you nurture yourself, and Mars is like taking in, like so like if it's a Moon conjunct your Mars, then it's not such a good placement, because then you may be like an overly aggressive person, or your emotions are like very aggressive, you know. And I mean, I guess it's cool for like sports and stuff, but in terms of being in a relationship, that's not so Iowa. But yeah, that's a whole other video. Now let's get to trines, right? So trines are your gifts, right? So what are trines? Trines is when the same, like when three of the same, obviously there's like three signs that share one element, right? So Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, all air signs. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius are all fire signs. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are all earth signs. And then Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces are all water signs, right? So with that, as I just explained, that those are trines. So I'll use myself as an example, right? I have a grand air trine, because my whole birth chart is filled with air. I'm an Aquarius rising, Gemini moon, and then my Mercury is in Libra, and so is my Venus. So that's a trine, right? Because my birth chart has a lot, like all the air signs. So if you have, like, for example, let's say you have your sun sign in Gemini and your moon sign is in Libra. Your sun and your moon are trining each other. That means that you have the gift of expressing yourself, or you have the gift of expressing your emotions, or your emotions will always, like, you are somebody that's like, it is what it is kind of situation. Like what you see is what you get. That's the type of thing with trines, is what you see is what you get. So if you have a grand trine within your sun, your moon, and your ascendant, for example, if you're a sun Scorpio, moon Pisces, ascendant Cancer, then you have a grand water trine, right? Or let's just say you have your sun in Scorpio, your moon in Pisces, I mean your ascendant in Pisces, right? That means you will have the gift of being able to express your personality, right? Because your first house is your personality, and then your sun sign is how you express yourself. So you always have the gift of being able to express yourself, even when you're not aware of it, even when you don't know that's what you're doing, right? So that's the thing with trines. Trines is like is when like two of the same like elements come together, and they understand each other, but the way that they do things is completely different. So Gemini, for example, Gemini is a mutable air sign, Libra is a cardinal air sign, and then Aquarius is a fixed air sign, right? So but they're all air signs, so basically they're all here to do the exact same thing. They're doing the exact same thing, just within their different modalities, right? And I'll explain what modalities are in probably a video after this. But yeah, that's the thing with trines. It's the gift, right? So let's give another example. If you have, I'll use myself again. So my moon sign is Gemini, right? And then my ascendant is Aquarius. So what that is, how I feel, because your moon sign is really just who you are. Like, you know, when you close your eyes and you start speaking to yourself in your head, that ghost in your head, that's your moon sign. So whatever the ghost is saying will obviously, like, you'll let you know what kind of sign is it. So like, I'm a Gemini moon, right? What is Gemini? Gemini is ruled by Mercury, that super fast moving planet, right? It's an air sign, and it doesn't have any exaltations as far as I know, but I do think it is exalted in Uranus. But anyway, that's a whole other chat. So as I was saying is my moon sign is Gemini, right? So my moon is who I am, my emotions, how I react to things, the world I'm living in, how I'm receiving energy, and how, like, when I'm feeling sad, how do I make myself comfortable, or just the feeling of comfort, right? So what makes me comfortable is thinking, analyzing, communicating, thinking, because I don't like to talk a lot. But yeah, just thinking, communicating, analyzing, putting things together, gathering data, gathering information, you know, like going out, getting to know things, getting to know people, getting to experience things, right? That's the world I'm living in. That's my moon sign. That's Gemini. So my ascendant is Aquarius, right? Aquarius is what? Ruled by Saturn, ruled by the 11th house. It's also an air sign, but it's fixed house, right? I mean, it's fixed. So when my moon is trining my ascendant, that means I have the gift of, I have the gift of, on the bad side is I have the gift of taking things very personally. Or also on the great side is that how, like, my personality can show that I'm an emotional person, or my personality shows that I'm, like, because my emotions are thinking and blah 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 blah, like, that can be shown in my personality. So when I'm feeling sad, I have the gift of being able to show that. So that's actually on the negative side, because people can see that I'm, like, feeling like shit, so I can't really hide that. That actually goes the same for, like, if you have your moon conjuncting your ascendant, then you also share possibilities of taking everything personally. But that just means if you have it also just depends though, because you could have your moon sign in, you could have your moon conjuncting your ascendant, right? But your ascendant, I mean, your moon sign would fall in the house before that because of the degrees, right? So it would be in the 12th house or the 2nd house and not in the 1st house. So then you won't really take things personally. But most of the time, if you have your moon conjuncting your ascendant, you will take everything personally. You'll be like the type of person that thinks like people are walking around because of you, that type of thing. But if you have moon trining your ascendant, then you also share these possibilities, right? But you have the gift of attracting people that kind of probe into your personal life when you have moon conjuncting the ascendant, right? But that's just really the negative side. The positive, so-called positive side is that within my personality and how I like personally am, and my personal like issues, my personal affairs, personal interests, personal life, my personal life can be like, I can share my emotions through my personal life, right? Because I have the gift of sharing my emotions in my personal life. So that's the, I guess, cool part, you know. And then when we get to oh, let me give you another example actually. So if you have your moon trine your Mercury, then you have the gift to communicate your emotions, right? It's different when it's like a moon conjuncting your Mercury, because then it's kind of like there aren't like enough words. Like sometimes you feel like maybe there aren't the right words to communicate exactly what it is you're feeling. But with trines it's different, because then I have that gift of communicating exactly what I'm feeling. But also I feel like on the negative side, because it could play out anyway though, and also depending on your degrees too. And now I'm gonna keep saying that it all depends on your degrees really. So yeah, if you have Mercury trine your moon sign, you have the gift of, but on the negative side you have the gift of like telling the wrong people about how you feel, and then they take advantage of you. But on the positive side, you can always like kind of have the gift to understand how other people feel and be able to communicate how they feel for them, especially if they have like their moon squaring their Mercury, right? So that's the good part, right? So you're always gonna have the gift. Let's say, I'll use myself again, if you have Mercury trining Venus, then you always have the gift to communicate in a very sweet way. You probably have a very nice voice if you have your Mercury conjuncting Venus, but depending on the signs, because it could be like Aries, then if it's like an Aries Mercury, Aries Venus, then you're probably like super aggressive, and like you show your like the way you love is by talking too fast and like being super aggressive, you know. Or but on the positive side, you could be super passionate when you speak, you know. All depends. And then yeah, so let's jump to the sextiles, right? So sextiles are your opportunities, right? So in astrology, there's different elements, right? Now some elements come together and they create harmony. Some elements come together and they cause friction. So now they need to learn how to come together and find like a middle ground, right? But that's the square. But let's speak about the elements that come together in a harmonious way. So those elements that come together in a harmonious way cause a sextile, right? Now a sextile, like I just explained, is when two elements, water, earth, come together and then they create an opportunity to create something else, right? Or air, fire, they come together to create something else. So let's use let's use earth and water first, right? So if you have, for example, if you're a Capricorn sun and you have your moon in either Pisces or Scorpio, or not Cancer, because that's the opposition, but if you have them either in Cancer, no, not Cancer, it's Scorpio or Pisces, and you have a Capricorn sun, then that creates a sextile, right? Now a sextile gives you the opportunity to express yourself. If you have sun sextile your moon, then you're somebody that always has the opportunity to express yourself emotionally, or your emotions have, like, you always have the opportunity for your emotions to be expressed, basically, right? With this placement, specifically sun sextiling moon, right? So but on the flip side is that you may be seen as, like, you will be seen as somebody emotional, even if it's like your sun in like Sagittarius and your moon is in Aquarius, right? Obviously it's different because like air signs and how they express their emotions is really just through the intellect, and fire signs like don't hold on to emotions, they just pull it out. But it doesn't matter though, if you have your sun sextiling your moon, you're gonna have the opportunity to be seen as somebody who is emotional, right? Now let's flip it around. Let's say you have your sun sextiling your ascendant, right? So who you like, your how you express yourself, and like your vitality, your sun side, and like how you express yourself, your vitality, how you act, right, will always have the opportunity to like your sorry, let me flip that shit around. So your personality will always have the opportunity to be expressed within your sun sign. So let's just say you are an Aquarius sun with an Aries rising, right? So with it, you have the opportunity to express your personality, right? So you may be seen as somebody that has like mad energy, like you always have the opportunity to be seen as, oh, okay, yeah, even if you're somebody that's like super quiet, you always have the opportunity to be able to express your your actions, right? And your actions and your like how you're gonna express your actions through your personality is always going to be received as like harmonious. So people won't be like, that's whack, you're trying too hard, because like the way you're going to express it is going to be in a harmonious way because of the sextile energy, right? Let's do this with like let's say your moon sextiles your Mercury, right? If you have moon sextile your Mercury, then you always have the opportunity to be able to communicate things, right? But it almost works similar to the trining, but with the trine is, I feel like with the trine is a constant thing, right? Like if you have moon trine your Mercury, you're constantly somebody who understands emotions, right? And you're constantly able to understand other people's emotions and be able to communicate them for them so that they understand what they're going through. But with the sextile it's kind of different, because like it's more so like it's like more so like, oh, certain days where you can be able to have the opportunity to express them, right? It just depends on the situation, the day, and you know, the hour, such things like that, you know. So it's different. Whereas trines is a constant thing, but your opportunities, your sextile is more so like, okay, I'm gonna go to a party and someone will come to me, and then that will be the opportunity for me to be able to express how I feel to this person, or this person will come to me and I will be able to help them go through something, and you get it, the opportunity. So it's not a constant thing. It's like more so like sometimes, you know, one of those things. So that's the thing, that's the difference between the trine and the sextile. So when we get to oppositions now, so opposition is basically your opposite sign, right? So Aries opposition is Libra, not Pisces, Taurus opposition is Scorpio, Gemini opposition is Sagittarius, Leo opposition, no, Cancer opposition is Capricorn, Leo opposition is Aquarius, and then Virgo opposition is Pisces. And then we can go again, Libra opposition is Aries, Scorpio, Taurus, Sagittarius, Gemini, Cancer, Capricorn, Cancer, and then Aquarius, Leo, and then Pisces, Virgo, just like that. So opposition means it's like tug of war kind of thing. It's either we're going this way or we're going that way. And it's not like a sextile or trine where it's like, oh, there's harmony, so we can just all go together. Oh, that's the trine. Oh, hey, I have weed. Oh, I have blunts. Oh, okay, opportunity to roll a blunt. Boom. With oppositions, it's either or. We're either going to eat apples, or we're gonna eat, I don't know, rice. Okay, that's like super drastic, but you get what I'm saying. It's like either or. That's type of energy. Because remember, like each opposition, they share a lot of characteristics, but it's expressed completely differently, right? So I'll explain that in another video. But I'll give you an example, like with Aries and Libra, right? Now Aries is more so about themselves, right? Like it's about me first, and then I'll tend to you when I'm good. Whereas Libra is about us. It's about us first, and then later I'll do something for myself, you know? So that's the difference. But it's eventually they're gonna do it for everybody and then do it for themselves. But it plays out differently. Like I said, with Taurus, it's like it's about, hey, I have this food, do you want it? And then Scorpio's like, I need to have this food first for myself, you see, and then I'll share it with people that are like in my inner circle. Where Taurus will, like, it's not really in a Taurus to be a stingy person. That's why Tauruses will give, and Tauruses are givers, right? So that's the opposition thing. Geminis are more so like, Geminis talk shit and they don't really care about what they're talking about, because they just talk just to say something. And then Sagittarius say things that mean something. So when a Sagittarius says something, it has to mean something, right? And Gemini can talk about anything. A Sagittarius won't want to talk about something if there's no meaning behind it. You know what I'm saying? Cancers care about home and like nurturing your feelings. Capricorns don't care about feelings. Capricorns care about results and what did you make out of this? Like, you feel something, but what did you do from it, you know? And Cancers would hate that, because sometimes the Cancer's like, okay, sure, like, feel something, you know, like, tend to your feelings. So that's the opposition, you know. Leo is like, hey, give me the attention. And then Aquarius is like, no, I don't want the attention. But both signs get attention, because Aquarius is weird and like Leo's ruled by the sun. So it's different, but it's the same. And then when we get to your Virgo and Pisces, Virgo is like, okay, we need to have a time and a schedule on how we're gonna do something. Pisces is like, oh, let's just go with the flow, see what happens. So you see, that's the opposition thing. So with oppositions, it plays out like let's go Virgo and Pisces, right? It's either, if you have, for example, your sun sign opposing your moon sign, you are here to gain balance in the world, right? And I know, like, I have homies who have Taurus sun, Scorpio moon, right? And it's either they're gonna be super sharing, right? And I know it's like a battle between, am I gonna share everything or do I need to be selfish? And that's what you're here to learn, how to balance those two energies, like balance when to give and balance know when to be selfish. Especially if you have like Taurus opposing your moon. If you have Taurus sun opposing your Scorpio moon, right? Or let's say you have this. Let's say you have this within your sun sign and your first house, right? So how it's gonna play out is like how you act is gonna have absolutely nothing to do with your personality, right? And once you're expressing your personality, it'll have absolutely nothing to do with how you express yourself, right? Or just you like within you, when it's with your ascendant sign, like how you, like the energy, the aura you carry is gonna be completely like the way you're gonna like the aura that you carry, right? Because that's your ascendant, that's the aura you carry, and like how you carry yourself, just generally how you look when you do things, right? So how you look when you do things and your actions, they're gonna be at like war. So you may be somebody that like you don't know, you may be like, oh, I don't know, like you may not know how to act even around people, because on one end, let's say you have like a Aries sun and a Libra rising, right? So your personality, you're gonna look very pretty, beautiful, Venusian, you know, Libra, like when you are acting, but your actions, like when you act, you may also feel like okay, I don't want to express my personality because it's completely different to like how I really am. That type of energy, right? Or if it's like your ascendant and your moon, if you have your ascendant oppose your moon, then how you feel is at odds to your personality, right? So you may be somebody that doesn't even like to react to your personality, or you don't even like your reactions are like not based on your personal life. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't make you won't react based on how you personally felt about something. It's just gonna be like, depending on all your other planets and where they are, it's gonna be like, oh, okay, well, I feel this way, but I'm not gonna. So you may be even a secretive person, like you may play out like secretive, being like a secretive person if you have your moon opposing your ascendant, right? So yeah, and let's get to I say conjunction, squares. Okay, so squares are the things that make the 90-degree angle, right? Now squares are the friction, right? Squares are the learning processes. So a square would be if your sun sign, but a square has to, like, it's how the different elements that don't go together, they have to learn with each other, but they're all in the same modality. So for example, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces, they're all mutable signs, right? But if I'm a Gemini, then my square elements are Virgo and Pisces, right? They're all mutable, but we all have to learn, like, we have to learn from each other. Because one, Gemini is air, and then Virgo is earth, and then Sagittarius is fire, and then Pisces is water, right? Air needs to learn how to get along with water, because they're not like when air and water come together, like if you throw air in the sky, it's just gonna fall. There's no support system for it, right? That's why water needs earth, so that it can feel needed and feel like the earth can feel nurtured and whatever. But with air and water, there is no nurturing, because air is not dense and water has some density to it, right? And that's why fire and air come together, and that's why they create harmony, because fire can't exist without air, and fire gives air a meaning, right? When something is burning, we can smell it because the air sends us messages, because hey, telling us like, yo, like something's burning, go check this shit out, and then you're like, oh, okay, boom, that was a sextile, right? But if it's a square, then like air and water would now have to learn how to work with each other, right? So that's the learning processes. So if I'll use myself, I'm a sun sign Virgo and I'm a Gemini moon, right? So my actions and my reactions need to learn from each other, like to learn how to act and like learn how to like just work together, right? So how it would work out when you have this placement, if you have sun square your moon, is you may be somebody that like wants to overly prove yourself, or because sometimes your actions or even your reactions may be received as kind of why did you do that, like why did you do that? So then throughout the years you learn like, oh, okay, like when I do this is kind of weird, or when I do that, this is really dope, and then boom, learning processes. But that's what we're really here to do on earth, is you just learn. So don't think it's like a weird thing to have like squares, you know, Because when you have a lot of sextiles and trines, it can make you lazy because you already have that energy. Like, I'll use myself in this example. Like, I'll keep just using myself. Like I said, with my I also have my Venus trining my moon, right? So that's my gift. So I can either, so I'm like already somebody that has a lot of love, but I can be lazy in giving love just because I already know, I know how to love and I know how to be a nurturing person. But sometimes I won't utilize that energy, so I'll just procrastinate and tell myself, I already got this. Or I might, like, somebody that would like see somebody do something and then know I can do that better, but then won't do it because like I'm procrastinating, already knowing in my head that I can do it better. So I won't have the necessary actions to take action to like do something, you know. So then in that you procrastinate. Even with sextiles and conjunctions, you may procrastinate your gifts and procrastinate your opportunities just because you already know who you are the shit and you have it. So now when we get to that's your squares, your learning processes, right? So if you have a moon squaring your Mercury, you have to learn how to express your feelings through communicating, which might be difficult sometimes because sometimes you may feel like, oh wow, no one understands me. Or if you have your moon squaring your Venus, then you have to, your reactions, you have to learn. Okay, so you may have a specific way of how you want to be loved, but you have to learn how to be able to express that to people, and you have to learn how to be able to like communicate that, okay guys, I'm somebody that needs to love like this. Because you may attract people that, like, you may attract aggressive people or like super passive people, and then they don't necessarily do exactly what you want them to do, and then you get frustrated, but then you don't know how to really say it, and then you get angry, and then they don't understand why you're so angry, but you don't know how to express that. So you need to learn how to express that and learn how to like love other people the way that they want to be loved and not be a selfish cunt, you know what I'm saying? So that's squares, right? But you can do this with all your other planets. So wherever you have square, like wherever you have, I'll use myself again. I have my sun squaring my Jupiter, right, which is also in Gemini. So my actions need to learn how to bring about like higher education and meaning and reasoning, but it's all in Gemini, right? So it's thinking and analyzing, right? Which is okay. You know what? It's different when your sun and your moon share a planet, right? Because technically they're doing the same thing. It's just the elements that bisects it, you know? So like with me, like let's even say you have a Sagittarius sun, Pisces moon, right? That's a square, but they share a planet, they share Jupiter. So that square is a harmonious square, right? So your learning processes are going to be harmonious because either way, you're like putting higher meaning and reasoning to things, right? Just within the masculine side and the feminine side, right? Because all the masculine signs are the fire and the air, and then the feminine signs are the water and earth, right? So just with that, like, so even with myself, like I have a Gemini moon, Virgo sun, so I'm ruled, both of those signs are ruled by Mercury, so it's a harmonious square, right? But if it was, for example, if I had a Sagittarius sun and a Virgo moon, that's not a harmonious square, but they both share the fact that they're mutable, right? We can even use this with if I had a Libra sun and a Cancer moon, right? That's a square because it's air and water, but they both share the cardinal modality, right? So that's the one agreement that they have. It's just like they're doing it in completely two different ways, so they have to learn how to come together. So with this, for example, let's just say I was a Cancer moon, Libra sun. Right, so my learning process is how to communicate my feelings, right, in a way that isn't like super bossy, but that's kind of hard because they're cardinal. Cardinal just means bossy as fuck, but not as fuck, but bossy as fuck, right? So I have to learn how to communicate my nurturing and Venusian way in a harmonious way, right? I have to learn how to do that. But in my whole life, I'm gonna go through experiences of me sounding too bossy, or of me being too emotional, or like too passive, that type of thing, right? It's always a learning process, but you get it. So if you have this, let's say you have Venus squaring your Saturn, right? So how you love, appreciate, and be diplomatic has to learn how to gain stability out of that. So throughout your whole life, you may be somebody that's walked all over, or let's just say you grew up with like rich parents or something, and you have Venus squaring Saturn, right? Then you may be somebody that will have to learn how to not give too much, and how to somehow like keep for yourself and then build your own stability, you know. Or you may even suck at love. You may suck at building relationships with people if you have Saturn square Venus. So you have to learn how to build relationships in the like cool, necessary ways, you know. And then you may see other people knowing how to build relationships. Like you may even see a Libra, because Libra is exalted in Saturn, right? And then you may think, wow, how do you do that, dude? Like, I'm trying my hardest. And to a Libra, it's nothing, because this is what they do regardless, you know. And then you think, okay, maybe if I do exactly what the Libra does, then I'll be fine. But it won't work that way, just depending on your own alignments and your own birth chart and stuff. So like I said, you just have to learn how to build structure through your love letters. Or you may find out that, okay, maybe if I get married or if I start dating somebody, then I can learn how to build a life with them, you know. That's the square. And then when we get to the last but not least, the inconjunctions. So inconjunctions it's not quite an opposition, it's the sign after the opposition, right? So an opposition would be a 180, right? So a misconjunction would be like a maybe a 200. I'm not good at math, so I'd say it's a 200, right? So if it was Virgo Pisces, that's the opposition. A misconjunction would be if it's Virgo Aries, right? Or Virgo Aquarius, right? So it's the sign just after or just before your opposite sign. So what that is, it's a misconjunction, right? Because not only do they not even share a modality, but they don't even share an element, right? So a misunderstanding is, well, it's just that, it's a misunderstanding. So for example, I'll use myself again. I have an Aquarius rising and a Virgo sun, right? So that's a inconjunction. It's a misunderstanding between my personality and my actions. So my whole life, I wasn't able to express my personality, right? Just because I was like unsure of how to do that, right? I would see a lot of people being able to express themselves freely and blah blah blah, but I was like, oh, okay, well, like, I mean, I have all this like energy that I want to give out, but I'm not too sure how to do it. And then when I do it, it's like, it's like weird and like, it's just like weird and uncomfortable, right? So that causes the misunderstanding. But then again, I'll say some misunderstandings are harmonious, because we get Aries, right? Aries opposite sign is Libra, but then after that is Scorpio. Both Aries and Scorpio are ruled by Mars, right? So if you have an Aries sun and a Scorpio moon, then it's a harmonious misunderstanding, because you're doing like, if you're somebody that's aggressive. I have a friend who has this I actually have 3 homies who have this placement. Lady Gaga has this placement, dude. Sun in Aries, moon in Scorpio, right? They're both ruled by Mars, but it's an inconjunction, right? But it's a harmonious inconjunction. But it would be different if Shorty was like, if she was a Scorpio sun, Gemini moon, right? So what's opposite? Scorpio's opposite is Taurus. After Taurus is Gemini. So that's an inconjunction, right? So misunderstanding, right? But it's not even a harmonious misunderstanding, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, it's an air sign and it's mutable. Scorpio is ruled by Mars and it's a water sign and it's fixed, right? So that's the complete misunderstanding of it, right? So with this, it's, if you have this placement, if you're a Scorpio sun, Gemini moon, or Gemini moon, Scorpio, Gemini sun, Scorpio moon, like whatever, you go, like the way you express yourself, you may be like an extreme person when you express yourself, right? Because like you may feel like, okay, people didn't feel me, or people didn't like really get me when I said this. So you may feel like you have to overly express yourself. This also works with the squares, right? Where you feel like you need to overly do the most, right? So that it's received. But depending on the sun and the moon, like I said, if it's Scorpio Gemini, then it's not going to be received so because like it's right? And I know a lot of people don't even like Scorpios or Gemini, so that's not so nice. But whatever, I don't give a fuck. So that's just the thing with it, right? So yeah, that's the inconjunctions, the misunderstandings. But you can also do, if you have like your moon in conjunct your rising, who you are, your reactions, who the world you live in is gonna misunderstand your personality. So you may be like, you'll have a hard time reacting to your personality. You may not even like your personality. Well, within your personality, you may not even like the way you react to things, right? Because it's a misunderstanding. But as you learn and as you grow and as you go through experiences, then you like kind of know how, like when to do these things and when not to do these things. So yeah, that's my video on sextiles, tries, conjunctions, blah 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 blah. I'll see you guys another time. Bye.